Hey there everybody, Simple Duck here again, and wanted to do a quick video today just to go over my Act 1 Inferno build that I used. My gear isn't all that great, and I found that with this build, Act 1 really wasn't all that difficult. I know that Act 1 really isn't supposed to be difficult in Inferno, and that the difficulty kicks up once you get to Act 2. But I figured I'd go ahead and share this spec with you anyway, just so you can kind of see what I've got going and see if it sparks any ideas for you. So let me go ahead and get into it here. The first thing I've got here, my primary, is Magic Missile with Seeker. And I've found that to be really useful because with the Seeker rune, it really allows you to make sure that none of your spells miss. You're pretty much guaranteed a hit every time you throw it, so that's always nice. Let's see, the next one I have here is Arcane Orb. And I use Tap the Source. I know a lot of people kind of debate, they go back and forth between Tap the Source and Celestial Orb. A lot of people will argue that Celestial Orb is better because it goes through enemies and you can hit more people, and that's a very valid point. However, I think between the two, it's really just a matter of opinion, to be honest with you. And my opinion is that you know, I prefer Tap the Source rather than throwing out 3 orbs that are going to hit a bunch of people. I'd rather throw 6. So, I mean, just my opinion again, but, you know, let me know what you guys think. Do you use Tap the Source? Do you use Celestial? Or do you use Obliteration? I know some people do that too, so what do you guys use? Next up here is Teleport. And I know in my previous video that I posted for Hell difficulty, I was using Teleport with Fracture. And now in this one I've decided to get away from Fracture and I go with Wormhole. I just find that it's more useful to be able to teleport multiple times. The mirror images that Fracture provides is still useful, but with the rest of this build and how it works, it's not really necessary, and I'll get into that here in a minute. But Wormhole I like because it lets you teleport multiple times. You can get more distance, and if you do happen to screw up a teleport and you teleport into a wall, you can go again. But the reason why the mirror images aren't as useful anymore with this build is mainly because of the Hydra. And I know in the last video I also showed that I used the Venom Hydra, but in this video, in this act of Inferno, I use the Arcane Hydra. And the reason why is because of my passives. So I'll get into that here in a second. But to finish this up, I have Energy Armor, which obviously I think pretty much everybody uses that. I think this has become one of those spells that every wizard has, and you really can't function without it. So I've got Energy Armor with Force Armor rune, and I use Magic Weapon with Force Weapon rune for the extra 15% damage. But let me get into the passives here now. First one I use is Glass Cannon. The 15% extra damage is great. The decrease to your armor and resistance isn't a huge deal yet. First one here is Galvanizing Ward. And what that does is, as long as I have Energy Armor active, I regain 310 life per second. And that can be extremely useful after you take a hit, teleport away, and while you're kiting, you're regaining your health. For me, I find this to be a lot more efficient than life on hit. It lets you regain your life quicker and more, I don't know what word I'm looking for here, but more steadily, I guess. With life on hit, it's all based on you getting in and doing damage, and sometimes you just have to kite. And so I like using Galvanizing Ward for that. But the main ability that makes this whole thing come together is Temporal Flux. And with Temporal Flux, anytime you do arcane damage, the enemy is going to be slowed by 30% for 2 seconds. Now, there's no like diminishing returns in this game, so it's just every time you hit them, they're slow for 2 seconds. So if you look at the build here, using the Arcane Hydra now, so he's putting out decent damage, not as much as the Venom Hydra, but still decent damage. But he's also AoE slowing, which is crucial to be able to kite. Arcane Orb, obviously, that does arcane damage. So everybody that hits, they're getting slowed. And Magic Missile, with the Seeker thing on there, makes sure that I always get a hit with it. And because it does arcane damage, it slows. So basically, all the damage that I'm putting out all the time is making sure that people are slowed. So Temporal Flux really is what ties everything together. And it's incredibly useful. It's great for if you don't have the best gear, especially, because it makes sure that people don't ever really have a chance to get to you. And if they do, you've got Teleport with Wormhole. Just get out. So now that you've seen that, let me go ahead and get into a little gameplay and kind of show it to you in action. Alright guys, so here we are in the Halls of Agony, and this is the section, I'm sure most of you are familiar with it, but this is right before the Butcher, and as you can see here, I mean, just using Tap the Source, it lets you throw a lot of arcane orbs, and with just regular trash mobs like this, really not much of an issue. They don't really pose a threat at all. So that is part of the reason why I like having Tap the Source. If you were to use Celestial Orb, this would be a good situation for it with that big pack where it could just go through and damage all of them. But like I said earlier, just personal preference, so not really a whole lot that you can not a whole lot you can do. I mean, whether you go with one or the other, it's going to be better in different situations, so you know, stick with what you're comfortable with and go with that. Okay, so you can see here I kind of got surprised by this pack of blues here, and they got Vortex and sort of pulled me in, but I was able to use that teleport to get out, so that's really nice. And as you can see with the Arcane Hydra, he kind of keeps them slowed, so I can get some good distance on him. And the more you kite, the more distance you're going to get, especially if you know you get the opportunity to go ahead and use teleport again to gain more distance if you want it. At a certain point, they'll actually quit chasing you, and as you can see here, that second one there kind of took a little while to catch back up because he sort of stopped chasing after me. So I still am not sure exactly where the third one is here, but you know, you can see with this build kind of, you know, the benefits of being able to kite as you're going through this act with not so good gear. But we're gonna go back here and we're gonna find this last guy here and drop the Hydra on him, keep him slow.
Still waiting.
And you can see he's Vortex. Whenever they Vortex you, just teleport out. Not a big deal. You can usually get out, especially with this type of mob, you can get out before they actually do any damage. And there you go. That's how you can use this arcane build to go ahead and kite around champ packs. Okay, and here's another champ pack here. These guys got mortars, walls, I believe they have Vortex. I'm not sure what their last thing is here. Let me try and see here. I think it might be fast. But you can see, especially with wallers, it's super easy having teleport, and then you just go ahead and drop the Hydra behind the wall and make sure you dodge those mortars and you're good to go. And that's it for them.
Healed.
So mortars, wallers, real easy. I'll go ahead and wrap this one up here by showing the end of this run, which is the Butcher. It's a pretty simple fight. I'm sure you guys have seen it a million times, so I'm not going to show the whole thing. Just make sure you keep the Hydra down. Don't get caught by his little blue hook there. And don't step in the fire. I hope that this little build of mine is able to help you guys out, or at least give you some ideas of how you can adapt it to your own play style. And you know what? If it does help you out at all, give it a thumbs up. And make sure you guys subscribe so you can see when my next video comes out. So until next time, guys, take care.
My bags are full.